What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Huddle, baby. I'm here with my boy
Christian Roddy
and my boy. Oh, his mic not on. Jesse Masson, my producer, the one and only.
Masson.
You feel me? It's January and it's been a long week, so
It has been a long week.
definitely, I could feel the January vibes.
Oh,
already
for sure, yeah.
Already.
Definitely from back to back, just work and grinding. But we got these goals, and we need to get moving on them.
We got to get to work. The only way we can get to these goals is by working.
What habits do you have that set you apart from other people, do you believe? Like, why is Sean better than someone else? Like, why is Sean going to be a millionaire and not 99.9% of the rest of the population?
I feel like I'm not afraid to do the work. That's why. I feel like everyone that's millionaires are afraid to put in the work.
Millionaires are?
Not who's not millionaires that are wannabe millionaires are afraid to put in the work. But what I mean by afraid to put in the work, I mean by making the first step.
Yeah.
Of it,
like I feel like doing things and starting things is like almost like a superpower.
Yeah.
But okay, so what helps you do that?
Not being afraid.
I'm gonna smack you.
Literally.
That's the start, but obviously
and not being lazy.
but it's very easy in our society to be lazy.
Exactly. Yeah, but I feel like it's just overthinking. A lot of it comes down to overthinking and people overthinking and over.
So do you have moments where you overthink?
Of course I do. Everyone does.
How do you calm those thoughts down?
Yeah, I was about to say, so what do you do in those
I
moments?
take action instead of thinking.
Okay, but it's like almost like if you were to the average person, it feels like they're almost drowning in water. Mm-hmm. So like when you're overthinking or you feel like you're getting lazy, what pulls you out of the water?
Take one action in that direction, because you could sit and drown in the water and just stay there, or you could take an attempt to swim out of the water.
Some people don't even realize the water is. They don't even realize they're drowning.
When do they realize?
I don't know.
Shaking up a bottle. They playing Yahtzee over
yeah,
there?
I don't know. I don't know. But okay. So, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you're telling me you don't have anything that you you rely on outside of just
taking action.
Stop being a bitch.
No, take actions.
So,
like when I feel like I'm overwhelmed, then the only way to stop me from being overwhelmed is by taking an action that in the direction where I'm being overwhelmed. If I'm being overwhelmed because I feel like there's a bunch of people like in here watching me doing the podcast, then the only action I can take that's going to help me is by talking and doing the podcast.
But were you born that way? Like to just start doing? Because why doesn't everybody just do?
I don't know. I think after a while, I just stopped giving a fuck about what people think.
But what if it's even things that nobody else would know about? Like the 1,000 little habits that make you successful prior to ever being successful. It's like the people talk about the overnight successes that we're really grinding behind the scenes for the last year. Like a lot of people, like you said, you said you don't care what people think, but it's like there's others. To be successful and be a millionaire, it's like you're gonna have to do a lot of things that people never even know of that you had to be not lazy to do.
Not like don't know of as in what sense? Like what don't they know? Like what am I doing that you don't know?
Huh?
Like what am I doing that you don't know?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not doing anything that you don't know.
I think we
have so much
I forget what football player said it, but there's like
we know what Kobe Bryant's doing. Like it's not
little.
No, we know he's putting in the work and grinding. He's the one doing 1,000 free throws a day. Yeah. You know what he's doing. You just don't want to go do 1,000 free throws a day.
So you think it's that simple?
Yeah, it is.
So so there's that movie quote where they're like, "What's the biggest lie you've ever been told?" And he's like, "It's not that simple." And then the reporter is like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "No, that was the biggest lie I've ever been told." And she's like, "That it's not that simple." And he's like, "Exactly, because it is.
It is that simple."
But this society and everything keeps telling you that, pushes it down 100%. On you.
I think that everything is super simple and it's super like black and white, and you know how to get to being a millionaire. It's just you don't take the steps to become a millionaire. Like even me, I don't take the steps to become a millionaire because I think it's not that simple, but realistically it is. And even along the way, I'm still stopping myself because one, whatever is telling us that it's not simple gets in my way of saying it's not simple. But it's trying to break that habit in my brain to be like, it is simple.
So how do you break that habit in your brain?
By just doing it.
Even when it's telling you it's not that simple and don't do it?
Yes, do it.
Obviously, there's lots of times where you're unable to do that.
Yeah. The only reason why I wouldn't be able to do something if it just comes down to capital. Like, that's the only, like, if I had capital, then I'd be a millionaire.
But there's ways to get capital.
There's ways to get capital, but I just don't want to do it. Again, it's that simple. There are ways to get capital. Like, I can go get a second job. I can work.
Get a third job.
I can get a third job, and I would literally make more than 6 figures a year, and I would have more than enough capital. But I just don't want to do it. And it's really that simple because we know how to do it. Because you can go get more capital at any time. I know I can go get more capital at any time. It's just we don't want to do it because we're just lazy. And the only way to break that laziness is by going and do it. Because it's that simple.
Damn. It's that simple, huh?
It is that simple. So what do you do then?
It's not that simple.
It's not that simple.
Oh, shit.
So then what do you do when you're in situations that you think that are simple or no, that are like holding you back and you're trying to like, what your end goal is and you're in a situation where you can't reach your end goal because you're in front of something that's stopping you?
I don't think anything that's stopping us is permanent. I think, and a lot of the obstacles we have are like self-created, whether it be like a real obstacle that now you have to create a solution for, or it's the imaginary obstacle. I think both are really most of the time created by ourselves outside of the lack of capital, like hurdle. But then again, that's a hurdle that I put in front of me because I made myself believe that I needed money to do it.
True, but I mean, sometimes you do need money to do it. Like, if you want to do something, sometimes you do need money.
Yeah, but it like depends on what it is. Like, what do I need the money for?
Yeah, it depends on what your goal is. Like, it depends on what your end goal is.
Yeah.
Like, if your end goal is to learn Spanish, you don't need money to realistically learn Spanish.
No, you just have to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you can go find someone to teach you. You can go pick up a second job in the kitchen, and like one of the guys
You can go to YouTube and they'll probably teach
you can go to YouTube. But like, let's say you're literally like poor, like you don't even have a cell phone, like or a computer,
homeless.
like you could literally find someone to teach you.
Yeah.
You could trade something, right?
Yeah.
So literally, or you could do YouTube, or you can go get like Rosetta Stone. However form you want. You can go down to your local community college and probably enroll in a class, and potentially FAFSA will pay for it or whatever your program is. But I think to your point, it's all mindset, and like I think that's why Kobe is so successful. And while he was still here, I think that's why the Mamba Academy was so successful, and everything he talks about is so attractive to people. Because I think the ability to execute literally is like a superpower. There's that second when you're able to flip the switch, and I don't know why sometimes it's easier than others and sometimes it's harder than others. But when you flip that, like, oh, I'm going to do that, and then it gets done.
Yeah.
And it's always, almost all the time.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratifying, so that builds your momentum with it. But it was always also more simple than we ever believed it to be.
Yeah.
And we usually do things quicker and easier and more. And again, you're gratified afterwards. Like, as stupid as it is, like a little chore like dishes, like, you build this, like, oh, I'm tired from work, though. I don't have the energy. I just want to relax. And it's like... But then you take the fucking 3 minutes to do the dishes, and you're like, my house is clean. I feel so nice.
I feel better.
Like,
this is fucking
and you did something, and for some reason that gives you a dopamine hit.
Yeah, and you're just like, damn, that was fucking simple. I could literally just done the dishes the 20 minutes ago from me procrastinating about doing the dishes,
and then
now
could have really gone and relaxed if you needed to. If you needed
except
to.
for I was sitting here procrastinating, also having the thought of doing the dishes in the back of my head, which was realistically not making me relax because I know I have to go do the fucking dishes.
Yeah.
When you could have just did the fucking dishes. So then, like, realistically, okay, so we talked about, like, again, like, those simple moments that we know that are simple, that we can't pass for some reason. Why can't we pass those, like, simple moments that we know that they are simple? Like, why? Like, what do you think that's stopping us?
I literally don't know.
other than capital, because I think
No, well, like, no, like, even if you want to simplify it beyond that, like,
Yeah.
like, let's say, like, this morning, getting out of bed when the alarm clock went off the first time versus the other 2 to 3 times.
80 times.
Like, why is that?
Why is that so hard to do that?
Bro, I do not know. From a
Because-
survival, like, so if you even break it down from, like, an evolutionary point of view,
Yeah.
it makes zero sense to me.
Yeah. Because realistically, like, there's been times where I get up off the first alarm and I just go out and grind. Like,
And like, that's when, like, why people say, like, I'm motivated, I'm getting it done, blah, blah, and they ride those highs in life.
Yeah.
But then when you
I
only
don't
wake
even feel like that, though. When I be working out at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., I don't even be feeling motivated.
until you get going.
Not even.
Really?
Even after,
Yeah,
I'm like,
just
that
work.
was, I'm just like, I
Going
felt
through
like I was
the
on
motions.
so autopilot through that.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I really don't know how it serves a purpose in the human, like, being. Like, I don't know when that started, why it started, outside of, like, comfortability. But
Do you think that it's from society that makes us think that way? Or do you think it's from, like, your own personal experiences?
like a nature versus nurture thing.
Yeah, do you think it's just like a nature versus nurture thing, or like a survival of the fit type of thing, where it's like it's just you, like you are just so like
Well, it's so rare to be done on a consistent basis. That's why it's like I said, it's like a superpower. So I don't even know if I could blame it on society,
Yeah.
because in the capitalist environment we're in, and the society we're in, and like where we spend our attention and eyes, it's like we reward that behavior. You would think more people would do it.
yeah,
But
that's true.
So I don't even want to blame it on society.
Because realistically, if you know you're gonna reward it from that good behavior, it's like why wouldn't you take that step to
From the general, like,
the general public's eye?
yeah, of success and what
success.
success is. Like, obviously society from an advertisement and like how those places make money. Like, people make money off your data, people make money off your eyes, people make money off you being lazy. But on the flip side, you can make money by doing everything.
Yeah,
Like, so I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
it literally makes no sense to me. Like I don't like. I'm trying to think of like
And it's like, that's why I asked you, like, what do you do? Because I feel like if you're able to provide solutions, that's so valuable to people, because people want to do,
yeah,
or
try to do.
if you talk about Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, like,
Yeah.
if you played any sport ever or you work in business, you've probably heard him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, you have to want to succeed more than you want to breathe.
Exactly.
And then you'll be successful. When you hear his story, and he always talks about, like, do you really want it, or you kind of want it? And he says a lot of people just kind of want it.
Exactly. And I feel like that's the reason why it's so simple. Because if you think about it, if you really want something as bad as you want to breathe, breathing is super simple. You just sit here and you just do it unsubconsciously. And he talks about the dude going out into the water, and he's like, yeah, hold your breath. And then he's like holding his breath, and he's all, I can't do it. And then he like holds him down, and he fights for his life to like actually breathe. And it was like that simple to just take the breath. I feel like that's the same thing that we go through for like being billionaires or being millionaires. And it's like, we know exactly like what we have to do, but we just know it's time consuming, and we know that it's like not as, I don't know, not time consuming, but we know that there's a lot of steps to get there. But, and it's simple steps because it's just like a straight line to get there. But it's just, there's so many steps in between there and like to the end. I don't know.
Do you think people fail because it's just short-term gratification versus long-term gratification, and we have difficulty bargaining with ourselves, where those who are successful, they don't bargain with themselves? They don't settle for now, because they know their why is greater than what they're currently settling for?
Yes and no. Like, I know
Because like, are they always just in that mindset?
because I feel like, so then if it's really like realistically, if it is like instant gratification versus delayed gratification, and we're constantly in that instant gratification mindset, then that means me and you are constantly in that instant gratification mindset. Because like realistically, that means we're like in that mindset to a point where it's like it seems that we're not, but we really are, because we're not doing stuff that's going to be so delayed for us. We're doing like instant stuff to an extent. Like if you get what I'm saying, like, because realistically, if it comes down to just being instant gratification versus delayed gratification, and if that's the case, then why aren't we working 3 jobs to gain capital to go do stuff?
Because it's hard to work.
It's
3 jobs,
hard
and
work.
it's tiring.
Exactly, it's tiring, and we want instant gratification right now, and we just
I
want
want to relax,
I
talk
want
to
to
the
relax and
homies,
do,
play
exactly.
the game,
I want
watch
to play
the
the game
show.
and want to do that. So if that's the case, then I guess it does come down to just simple instant gratification versus delayed gratification to an extent. Because again, like it's not like saying that we're constantly striving on instant gratification. Like we save up money, we're doing this for the future, like we're investing for the future, but it's not enough delayed gratification, if you get what I'm saying. Like the instant gratification is overwhelming the delayed gratification.
Okay. So how do you combat that?
I don't know.
So with that
Yeah.
understanding in your life, where like, do you have something where you say like, this is a practice I use, or this is something that I probably do that someone else doesn't, and it might be second nature to you.
Yeah.
But to like the front of your mind, is there something that you would think like, and again, it could be subconscious, right? Because it's like, we've talked about it before. People don't even, not everybody even has like a conscious voice in their head, right?
Yeah.
So like,
That's crazy.
like, that's most of the
that.
time, that's what kicks me in gear.
Yeah.
Is the subconscious conversation that I have with myself.
Conversation that's like, yo, quit being fucking lazy.
Yeah.
That's
And then,
crazy.
and it's like, it's almost telling me like your why, like your golden circle why,
Like,
or
this
whatever,
is
like your
exactly
emotional
why.
connection. It's like, hey, I thought you fucking wanted that.
Yeah. That's crazy because like, I guess subconsciously again, like I just take action. Like if that's what it comes down to, it's just me taking action because
But what is the catalyst from inaction to action?
that's what I'm saying.
Like,
I don't know what the
if
catalyst is.
like,
the catalyst is the
because if you look at it as like an energy, like
Yeah.
energy is never created nor destroyed. It's only
Yeah.
transferred.
What's the fuel that starts the energy?
So yeah, so if you're here not moving, what gets you moving?
What's the ignition? Again, it's gonna have to be the little brain, like little person in my head telling me that like what I'm doing isn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's constantly telling me what I'm doing. Like it constantly tells me that it's not enough, and that if I'm not doing something, then I'm being lazy, and if I'm being lazy, then I might as well just be poor and broke. That's literally what it tells me to do, and it's crazy. Like it's crazy as it seems, but like that is constantly in my head to the point where it's just like, do you want to be a millionaire or not?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be have financial freedom or not?
And then I guess just on the days where it's not, no.
Some days, yeah. Some days
Like
that
sleeping, I
some
want to
days-
sleep in more than I want to be a millionaire.
Some days the instant gratification wins, and it's like I want to sleep in, and I want to play video games, and that's what I'm saying. That instant gratification just overwhelms the delayed gratification so much.
Are there so obviously this is, so we use like you want to be a millionaire, but this is gonna be the same for people who want to live healthier lifestyles. This is gonna be people for want to have better relationships. Like you have a poor relationship with your spouse, or you've had multiple bad relationships, and like your goal is just I want someone to love me. Like
Yeah.
this to change behaviors, which because this sounds like this is a little bit of behavior change. Like
Yeah.
like some people need an epiphany in their life, or some people need strong daily habits. But I guess like, is this a muscle you can train?
For sure. Because for this year, I wanted to live in the quote of, don't do it tomorrow, do it today. Mm-hmm. For anything that I want, don't do it tomorrow, do it today.
Yeah, because
So that's
I've bargained with myself so much in my life where it's like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. The second I think that, I've had to start saying it's not going to get done.
Exactly.
Like,
100%.
you've already lost. Just go do it now.
You already lost. Exactly. As soon as you have that thought of hey, I'll do it tomorrow. You lost. Right there.
You're saying I'm not going to do it.
The instant gratification won immediately.
So I guess I interrupted you. Apologize. So it is a muscle you can train.
Yeah, for sure. Because if it's like,
As we wrap our heads around it,
yeah,
what would that exercise routine for this ability to kick in the long-term gratification more?
I don't know. That's the thing. Because if
Okay.
I knew it, I wouldn't be here, and you wouldn't be here. Because if it was that simple, we wouldn't be in the seats that we're in.
Well, that's not true. So
But it is
just
that simple.
because you know how to train doesn't mean you lose 50 pounds. Like that's what I'm asking.
True.
Like,
Yeah, it doesn't
like,
mean that just because I know how to train doesn't mean I'm actually training.
Like I guess like are there some best practices that you could implement, or that like I guess I'm asking like if I was like, oh, like it's I hate talking like this because nothing is in absolutes in this world, and we know that. But it's like if these were the 3 best things to make you successful, like that type of catchy ass shit.
Yeah.
But
You gotta wake up. You gotta fucking instantly get an LLC, and then you gotta form a business, and then you go buy that business.
Yeah.
And have that.
Well, I was like watching a video, and I think maybe this like sparked it because I've tried to implement it lately. Is this lady was explaining something about how like your frontal lobe works.
Yeah.
And whenever she
Wait, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the frontal lobe is what basically has us
long-term
for
decision making.
Yeah.
That's
Cool.
it's one of the biggest arguments of why they don't let adolescents drink alcohol is because they believe males, I believe, is even longer than the female population, but
Yeah,
it's
I
like
think
from the
ours is-
ages of like 21, like on average, isn't even started
Fully
to develop fully
yet.
developed yet.
Yeah.
So you can't make long-term decisions. So like the DUI, like, hey, you shouldn't drive because you've had drinks, like because that has long-term complications and implications.
So the question for you, do you think that is what affects us from making instant gratification to delayed gratification? If that's the case.
It plays a part, but I couldn't give that like more than a
full,
10%, 20% responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Because all like if everybody
What's crazy
develops it, like people might have more developed or whatever it is, like people think things certain ways. Some could have happened in their life that makes them think a certain way. Like that, there again, you have nature versus nurture. So if you blamed it on the frontal lobe completely, you're giving a lot of weight to nature.
To nature for sure.
And then you're
are
telling.
are they not doing that with having the alcohol limit at that point?
Oh, they for sure are.
Yeah,
like they're giving it like 100% to that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Oh, but what she was saying is if you have a thought about something, and if you let it take more than 5 seconds, she was saying your frontal lobe, like your brain will kill it. It's like, no, we don't really want to do that anymore. You'll talk yourself out of it for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
And so like a thing she uses is she counts from 5 backwards. Something about engaging in that thought process, because counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 takes a little less thought than 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. But it's once you hit 1, you have to go do whatever that was that you're telling yourself you should do.
What's crazy is, like, I kind of do that. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's that's crazy that you said that, because I kind of do stuff around the house like that. Like if it's like me being lazy and getting out of bed, it's like, all right, get up in like 10 seconds.
And then you're already compromising with yourself a little bit. I know,
but I legitimately be like, yo, like, all right. 10
but it has to get done in 10 seconds.
At 10 seconds, and I will literally count down like 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, 10 seconds is up. Get up. Same thing with like.
Do you think that's why you procrastinate so much as well?
Yeah, for sure.
Because we think in that way. Because it's like, if you give me a deadline, I will wait till the deadline.
Exactly, for sure. And I feel like that's why, again, like, even if it's like doing the dishes, it's like, all right, cool. Like, give me 5 minutes, I'll go do it. And it's like, all right, at 5 minutes, I'll go do it. But then even when I think of like, oh yeah, doing it at 5 minutes, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, do it in 5 seconds, because 5 minutes, realistically, like, you're not gonna do it in 5 minutes. Just do it in 5 seconds. But again, like, I don't know what stops us. Like, what realistically, like, again, I could say that I just make action all the time and like, oh yeah, just go up and do it. Like, but realistically, like, I don't know what fuels the action. I think it's just me telling myself that, like, hey, like, I really want that, so I got to go do it. And that's the only times where, like, the delayed gratification wins, is those times, if that makes sense.
When is it?
Is when, like, I think back and really understand why I want to go do it. Like, why I want to
kind of like that what I was saying, like my subconscious voice telling me, like,
exactly.
It's reminding me that I want this.
It's the why, like the why behind the what. When I start thinking in depth of like why I want something.
So I guess just
because what do you do? Like, realistically, like what if you're like,
well, I've tried to implement like that, like literally this morning, like waking up, I was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I got out of bed and got my morning routine going. But a big part of it is that my subconscious voice. But like that's when I think about a lot of times when I fail to do the things that I know that are best for my growth, whether it be personally, financially, any type of development, moving beyond who I am in that moment.
Yeah.
And why I failed to do that is because for some reason I didn't have that voice that day. I settled for where I was currently at, and I went for the instant gratification.
Do you think you just don't have that voice for the day, or is
in
it
that
like,
moment,
or is it just the other voice, like the other instant gratification voice, is just so loud and it's just like clouding the normal voice? Because I feel like I always have the voice, like I always have it, but there's always another voice that always comes in.
Like,
and it's
fuck it.
Yeah, take it easy.
Relax. You earned this.
You earned this. And what's crazy is like, yeah, we could talk about like me being a millionaire, and it's like, yeah, I use that voice for me becoming a millionaire, but I mean, even if it's for like the gym or like going out for like your relationship. It's like that voice again, like is what clouds a lot of people's judgment and not just taking action on the initial voice of like, hey, I really want to lose 20 pounds
Yeah.
or hey, I want to go to the gym today or hey, like we should really go to the gym today or like, hey, like,
I think it's
because
I
you're
think
telling
it
me
is like a muscle, and you have to train it. And if you don't, it gets atrophied, and
Yeah.
that's why like you have good habits and bad habits, and whichever one you feed is going to go long term. So it's like, I guess when I have the voice, and that's why when you see people on like a glow up, it's like, damn, they are just doing everything right.
Yeah.
And then people who are like on the down end, it's like, damn, they're not doing anything right. Like they don't clean their house,
Yeah.
they take care of themselves, they don't do whatever.
do you think it's just because they just don't have the voice? Like they don't have like a motivator?
No, they do, but they stop. They like again bargained with themselves out of it so much that it's like, I guess you would say
It's like demotivating.
it's quieter.
It's quieter. Yeah.
It's not as powerful.
So then what steps would you do to kind of like get that voice back and make it like a louder voice than the bad one?
Like an inch at a time, small little wins.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think just taking action in the small moments
but again,
creates bigger, like a snowball effect.
Like without it being like depression or something, but like some people, like an inch step forward is like a mile.
It's a
to
mile.
them.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
they're just like, it's so hard.
But I feel like even
So it's
if
like,
you're
how do you train it? Like, like, are there tricks like
'Cause,
to
like-
get people running?
because realistically, let's just say like, oh, okay, like
I think exercise is a great form of that because
yeah,
like
you're
exercise
building a habit for like
that isn't easy. Nobody,
No one-
well, even I mean, like we've been in the fitness industry for a long
Yeah.
time. We've been athletes. We've worked out for the longer than we haven't in our lifetimes. That's for damn
Yeah.
sure. But it's like, as much as we enjoy exercise, like it's still not something we want to do every day.
yeah.
But we have to, and
then-
it makes it easier the longer we do it.
So then what I was saying is like realistically, like how do you like even like how you said it, like some people will take an inch but they think it's a mile. But I think sometimes like even the inch is like a good step. Like because realistically like
So-
if you're using like say like for
I got a question
Yeah.
for you to kind of take it into a different maybe thought process. Would you say you're a good significant other?
yeah.
So I believe like love is a choice.
Yeah.
Love is not as foofy of an emotion as we make it sound like or romanticize it to be.
For sure.
Because it's the everyday actions that create and maintain love.
100%.
It is not easy being a good partner.
No.
What on a regular basis drives you to be a good significant other?
I'd
Because
say-
it damn sure is easier not to be, right?
oh, it's for sure easier not to be. I think that's when it comes down to being like selfish. Like being a good partner is like you have to be like selfless and you have to like think about your partner before you think about yourself.
Which is definitely not normal.
Which is not
like a
normal for someone who, for every person, it's not normal to think about someone else other than yourself. Like, I don't care what you say, like, oh, yeah, I'm, like, the most selfless person, and, like, I'll give my shirt off my back. Like, at the end of the day, like, if you're a stranger's on the street, and it's, like, you and a stranger in the middle of the street, and, like, a fucking bus is coming, like, you're getting out of the way. You're not saving that stranger. Like, you might. Some people might. But at the end of the day, like, a lot of people are picking themselves over, like, the other people. So it's, like, being selfless is, I think that's what makes people a good, like, good relationship partner is because, again, like, making those small steps and, like, doing what, like, you know, like, your partner would like versus, like, what you would like. For instant gratification, delayed gratification, yeah, of course, like, I can go get my partner flowers. Like, that doesn't, like, affect me at all, but I know it's going to affect my partner. And that's, again, taking that delayed gratification route versus me just going to the crib and just chilling. Because I'm going to get the instant gratification if I go to the crib and just chill.
Yeah.
But I got to go out of my way to go get the flowers, to go bring them to this person. And that's the delayed gratification because now I don't get to.
So why do you do that more often than, say, somebody else?
That's a good question. I think it's just, I don't know. I think, again, like, I mean, because, again, it depends on, like, the people because it depends on your relationship and, like, and everything because realistically, like, if your partner doesn't really care about, like, you doing stuff for them or, like.
Well, let's say it's apples to apples in this scenario. They do.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know. I think just that genuine love for your partner, I guess. Like, if you really love your partner, then you'll go out of your way and do stuff for them. Because some people get clouded by that, and they're like, oh yeah, well, like, I love this person, but realistically, it's like, if you left tomorrow, like, I'm probably cool without you being here. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So you generally don't really love that person. Like, you love being around that person. But doesn't mean you love that person.
Yeah, but like I said, kind of like, from my perspective, love is a little bit of a choice. Like, it's the everyday actions that like keep you there, right? And it's the same. It's the everyday actions they do to create that keeps the love there. Because people are like, oh, I fell out of love, but then you're like, well, you stop doing this, you stop doing this, you stop doing this. They stop doing this, they stop doing that, they stop dodoing that. Yeah. And it's like, well, damn, y'all just stopped loving each other. Then you guys, quote unquote, fell out of love.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's.
So it's like so that's why I was bringing it up, because this is a little different than, like, I guess, hustling.
Because I feel like it's not an apples to apples for me. Because, like, realistically, like, I could use, like, I don't know. At the end of the day, like, I don't need shit. Like, I don't need shit from my partner. Like, my partner could just be in the room and I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
As long as I get to, like, live my life how I want to live it. Like, if I get to golf and I get to play video games and I get to be, like, who I am as a person, and you're down to ride with that, like, cool. Like, you're more than welcome just sitting sitting right there.
But you do a lot of shit for your partner.
Yeah, but that's because I know my partner respects that aspect of it.
Let's say, but you're also a selfish person.
Yes, I'm for sure selfish.
As am I. So what makes you do the selfless stuff?
Just out of love. That's what it is.
That's it? Okay.
Yeah, it's just out of love. Because it's realistically, at the end of the day, I don't have to do it.
Okay. Would you say that correlates at all to the other aspects of you being a successful person as well? Not you loving them, but maybe like, maybe you loving yourself. I don't know.
Not really.
No?
No. Because I think that is completely opposite of, because, like, realistically, like, at the end of the day, like, I have to, like, me loving myself and me loving my partner is completely different. Because my partner, like, wants A, B, and C for her, like, her love language. Like, that's her love language. Like, she wants it like this. Like, she wants words of affection. She wants, like, the constant, like, hugs and kisses. Like, me, on the other hand, for my self-love, it's like, I realistically don't need any of that. I just need to be doing better for myself. Like, if that makes sense. Like,
so then wouldn't being, quote unquote, successful and being a millionaire, isn't that a form of self-love for you?
Not really. I feel like that's a byproduct.
That's a byproduct? Oh, okay.
Of me, like, having self-love for myself.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I meant.
Like, me growing.
Oh, it's a byproduct.
Yeah, it's a byproduct.
Okay.
So, like, me growing and have self-love is like me growing, constantly growing. So, eventually I'm going to grow so much that being a millionaire is going to be a byproduct of how much I've grown. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I don't think it's like me loving myself so much. I think that's just me being I don't get like if you get what I'm saying, like, I don't think me loving myself and being so selfish is because of wanting to be a millionaire.
No, that's not what I was saying. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought you were saying.
The pursuit of it, the development, the growth, you want to be good, you being a better person for yourself.
Realistically, like, if it came down to, like, me knowing everything in the world, like all the secrets, or being a millionaire, I'd much rather pick all the secrets.
Well, yeah, because then, again, like we said, the money is a byproduct of usually having those things.
Exactly.
Like, and the money isn't anything. Like, money actually is not success to, like, us. Not, yeah. Like, the freedom is, the knowledge is, the ability to help people is.
Realistically, if I had the freedom to, like, do whatever I want,
I could give a fuck if I had a penny.
Exactly. I could give a goddamn give a fuck if I had a penny.
Yeah.
Like, if I could go golfing wherever I want, if I could fly and travel wherever I want, if they literally gave me, like, hey, you still work your 9 to 5, you get a normal paycheck, but you can travel whenever you want, it's all expenses paid, and you can golf and do whatever you want, all expenses paid, I could give a fuck less if I was a millionaire. Mm-hmm. One fuck.
Okay.
I'm telling you,
Fair enough.
Fuck. So that's what I'm saying. So realistically, like, me being selfish and me loving myself could be a byproduct of me just growing as a person, and I'm going to get, like, the stuff that I want.
So that voice, does it like in our minds on those days that say to do that or don't do that? Is it correlated to kind of what you were just talking about at all? or is it
For what? For
like
relationships?
the self growth, the self loving yourself?
Oh, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
and the
it's correlated.
voice is there because of that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
The voice is there because of the self love for myself. Like I think that voice is there is because I love myself so much, and I want to see myself like strive to do great so much that it's there to help me.
So if you start taking care of yourself a little bit more and have, I guess, a better, and you understand that you want more for yourself, you think that voice would be there more often for other people.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I feel like if everyone like learned how to like love themselves and understand what they want for themselves and understand like how much like they value themselves, then that voice in their head would be so much louder.
And they would stop settling more
Exactly.
often.
They would stop
because they
settling.
feel like they deserve.
They would deserve
More.
better, and they deserve more. Because like realistically,
That's like people staying in a bad relationship because maybe they don't have a good self value. It's a lot like why you don't do more for yourself because you don't think you're worth it.
exactly, you don't think you're worth it, or like same thing for like if you
Cap debt. No.
same thing for like if you're like going to the gym, like yeah, I don't think that like you. I think it's like, oh yeah, like I'm cool with just being like 20 for like being overweight, or like I'm cool with like people making fun of me, and like I'm cool with like eating unhealthy and like feeling bad. Like realistically, I feel like that's not them saying that. It's just the other like voice in their head, and they're saying like, oh, like it's cool. But realistically, deep down inside, they're like, hey, like I know my body's unhealthy and I want to be healthy, regardless if it's looking good or not. Like, you know, if you're healthy or not. Like realistically, like we're all healthy. Like me, you, and Chessie, like we're all healthy. We may not be aesthetically pleasing to the point where we want to be, but we know that we have healthy bodies and that we are living healthy lives, because we have self-worth. We are selfish for ourselves. We love ourselves.
100%. Sometimes
I think,
too much.
Exactly. But I think when you get to that point of being like obese and like being like, I don't know, like being like, I don't want to say it's depression either. Like
No,
I
and
think
some
it's
of them could just be coping mechanisms.
exactly. I feel like
know?
it's just you get to that point and you're just like, you know what, like fuck it,
Yeah,
and you just stop like caring about yourself.
I feel that.
And yeah,
That
that's
makes
it is.
no, that makes a lot of sense.
So then, realistically, what do you think the reason is stopping you from being wherever you want to be in the future? Like, why haven't you got there yet?
A lot of it is, I guess, like self-worth, self-valuing. Like, there's been times in my life that I've had to move when I moved from where I grew up to where I am now,
Yeah,
the ceiling of what I thought was possible for myself is dramatically different.
100%.
And what I feel like I'm willing to settle for, and also what I believe is possible for me,
Yeah.
has changed dramatically. And again, so I think that I don't know what moving changed that perspective, but also a lot of other things in my life have as well. And then understanding that life is that simple and you can do whatever you want to in this world. And like, that's not cliche outside of like playing in the NBA and shit.
Yeah.
Like there are some limitations.
Yeah, 100%.
But for the most part, like, fuck, you want to be the strength and conditioning coach for the Phoenix Suns, like
You can do it.
you can go do that, bro.
There's
like
literally like steps in place to go do that.
yeah, like if you want to be an influencer on YouTube, like you can go do that.
So
like
then-
whatever you want to do, like it is possible to do it, but you have to have the self-worth for yourself and believe that you can do it. Because if you don't believe you can do it and you don't believe
Shut you down.
you're worth that, then you're going to shut yourself down every time. And then you're going to look for emotional coping mechanisms like we were talking about. Like a lot of times people are unhealthy and obese because they have a poor relationship with food.
Yeah.
A lot of times people are in bad relationships because they have a bad emotional relationship with themselves or with someone else in their life and things like that. So
Yeah. So then, I guess, segue off of that, do you think the environment that you grow in dramatically affects the way you think like that?
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I mean, again, if you break it down versus like nature versus nurture, they've taken like twin siblings that have been separated at birth that have grew up in different environments. They have similarities, and there's other people, but they have a lot of differences as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, the environment you grew up in plays a huge part in that. Like,
Yeah.
if you grew up and you had a parent telling you ain't gonna be shit forever, like one of two things are gonna happen. You're either gonna believe that, and you're not gonna be shit, because you don't think you're worth shit, and you don't think you have the ability to do shit.
Yeah.
Or you could be the kid who was told he's not going to be shit, and you're like, in spite of you, I'm going to prove you absolutely 100% wrong.
100%.
But there's a little bit of nurture, or there's a little bit of nature that goes into that as well. So the nurture was something in your environment was telling you you're not shit.
Yeah.
And then obviously a piece of you and who you are as a person was like, okay, am I going to believe that or am I not going to believe that? Right. And then also maybe there was something outside of that environment that told you you're possible of it. There was a light of it at some point that was like, no, you can be more than what that person is telling you can be.
Yeah.
And I'm using that as like that person in this situation, but like life is hard. The world's hard. And a lot of times it's going to tell you you're not shit.
Yeah, bro. Then that's like, again, I feel like that's where it comes down to those A and B decisions where it's like, at the end of the day, I feel like it comes down to A and B decisions. It's yes or no. It's black and white. That's why I think it is. And that's why I think it's so simple, because it is A and B decisions. And it's like, do I take the time to go to the gym or do I play video games? Yep. Or do I?
Life is full of that, for sure. I think a lot of people, like, you don't have to get there's a lot of decisions in life that stay with you, but a lot of those A and B decisions, like, you can quickly go back to A.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, again, like when we were talking about it, like people make those A and B decisions and like they pick the right decision. It's A and they have that, and it's like only an inch forward, and they think it's a mile, but yet that's the problem, is because they think it's a mile and it brings them back down to that B decision. Like the overall, it pushes them backwards.
Because it was so much?
Yeah. Well, not because they thought it was so much.
They thought it was so much, yeah.
Because like realistically, it's like, cool, like A and B decision, like my whole goal is to lose weight. And I'm like telling myself, oh, cool, like I'm going to go to the gym right now. Now I go to the gym instead of staying at home. And now I took that one day of gym and I think that I'm good for the rest of the year.
Oh, no, you got to make that a decision day after day, moment after moment.
And that's why I think it's bad, because like it could go two ways, because it's that first inch was a mile, and that's a great stepping stone because you did take that first step, and that it is an inch, but it realistically was a milestone for you.
In that moment, that advice where it's like, and this could be used in multiple aspects, is like, I didn't come this far just to get this far.
Exactly. Like, so that's when you have to step back and be like, okay, cool. Like this was only actually an inch, but really, like, yeah, it was a milestone, but it was an inch.
Well, even if it felt like a mile, like, don't let yourself suffer that mile to only go that mile.
Yeah, you still have several miles to go.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's okay, like, cool, like I did A today, and then now I'm doing B for the rest of the week. Mm-hmm. So
you can't do that.
Exactly, you can't do that. So that's where it comes down to that.
Because you got to have more wins than losses.
100%. Right now, we're just taking too many L's.
Too many L's,
bro. At the end of the day, we're taking too many L's.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
what I would love is, like, for the people listening, like, if you guys have tricks or tips, like, that help you get out of that when you feel like it's being too much.
Let me know what your tips and tricks are.
Because we had to obviously have this conversation and kind of have a little bit of a deeper understanding, and thanks for you guys joining in on that.
Exactly, of what we're, like, how we think.
But some that works for you might work for someone else. Like, exactly. I would love to have more. Like,
I would love to have more tricks, little tricks,
like brain tricks. Because again, like those aren't going to work all the time.
No, 100%.
At the end of the day, I think it was kind of like what we're talking about. Like, it's got to be that voice inside you, that long-term gratification. But like, there's stuff at the gym that's like, hey, like, I'm gonna trick my body, like blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, consistency over the long run. But
yeah, and that, like I said, if you guys have some tricks, like, again, like I sit here and say, like, it's about taking action because of the voice in my head, but I mean, obviously the voice gets beaten a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. So if you have any tricks to help the voice from getting beaten, that'd be great. Like how his is counting back from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like, that's a great trick. Like, and I subconsciously use that trick sometimes, and without even knowing that's a trick. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like just get out there and execute on shit.
Yeah, because at the end of the day,
hustle is the only controllable pillar of success, baby.
God damn, and you are in complete control.
You are 100% in control.
You know what else you're in control for?
You can control the fact that we make it on this podcast, goddammit. So go ahead, like, subscribe, go follow, go hit us up on Spotify.
Yeah, make sure, you're on YouTube, subscribe, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcast, and if you did listen to this podcast today and you want to see how this conversation kind of unfolded with me and Sean, you can find the video version on YouTube.
Yeah, you can see me getting tight just answering this whole. Nah, I'm playing. But yeah, make sure you check us out.